The Haunted Ruger. My grandfather was a quiet man, but his house was loud with ghosts. I didn't realize it until after he died. When we buried him, I inherited what everyone in town called the old curse, an oak wood gun cabinet, heavy as a coffin, with bulletproof glass and brass locks polished by his hand for 50 years. Inside, sitting like a relic from another war, was a single firearm, a Ruger revolver with a silver frame gone dull with age. The letter he left me was short. Never keep the Ruger in your home. That was it. No explanation. No mention of how to handle it. Only that it should never share a roof with the living. I was raised not to be superstitious, so I thought it was just his old man paranoia. I loaded the cabinet into my truck, drove it back to my house out past the pine line, and set it in the living room beside the record player. My wife said it looked handsome, like a museum piece. For a while, I agreed. That first night, I dreamed of a man I'd never seen before. He was standing in the middle of a dirt road, his hands raised. A woman was screaming somewhere behind him. I heard a gunshot, and when I woke, the Ruger's case was fogged from the inside, like someone had breathed against the glass. The next night, another dream. A different man this time, crouched in a field, bleeding from the gut. The same gun glinted in the moonlight before the shot rang out again. I woke with the sound still echoing, the smell of gunpowder crawling up my throat. It kept happening. Faces, names, deaths I couldn't place. I finally realized what they were. People who had died by that gun. And every night, more of them gathered in the corners of my house, pale and watchful. That's when I remembered the letter. The first rule. I dragged the whole cabinet out to my shed before dawn, bolted it to the wall, and left it there. But that night, when I looked out the kitchen window, I saw them, all those spirits, standing around the shed in the dark, watching the house, like they were waiting to be invited back in. I started digging through records and archives, trying to trace the Ruger's history. What I found turned my stomach. Every single person who'd owned it had died by it. Accidents, suicides, robberies gone wrong. Even the thieves who stole it wound up on slabs. The gun always came back home. Police auctions, pawn shops, licensed dealers. It found its way into someone else's hand. My grandfather was the only one who hadn't died from it. I started wondering if maybe he'd known how to keep it quiet. After that, I started treating the gun with a kind of reverence. I'd polish the case, wipe the glass clean, whisper thanks before turning off the shed light. I told myself it was respect, but really, it was fear dressed up as ritual. That's when the whispering started. It was never loud, just soft enough to make me think it was my own thoughts talking back. It said things no one could know, that my wife was lying to me, that she was planning to leave, that the man she called a friend from work wasn't just that. I stopped sleeping. I started listening. The voice would hum through the walls like static, warm, almost kind. It told me I wasn't a fool, just a man being used. It told me the Ruger could make everything right. You don't even have to aim, it whispered. Just pull. I told myself I was imagining it, but one night, I found myself standing in the shed with the case open, The revolver cold and heavy in my hand. The air felt alive, thick with something unseen. When my wife saw me cleaning it at the kitchen table the next morning, she didn't say a word. She just looked at me, really looked, and something in her eyes broke. That night, she started packing. I could hear her zippering the suitcase in the bedroom, the sound small and final. I don't remember walking down the hall. I don't remember opening the door. I just remember her reflection in the mirror, her eyes going wide, and me standing behind her, smushing. The Ruger felt warm in my hand, almost human. Then nothing. Only the click of the hammer falling. The silence afterward isn't peace. It's the kind of silence that listens back. They'll find the Ruger again. They always do. Somebody'll buy it at an auction, think it's just an old collectible, something with history, and it will wait, patient as time, until the next fool brings it home.